Chicago scene, I can show all kinds of different things. But I didn't live in Chicago. I was from Indiana.
Okay.
So when Linda Morganti and her black boyfriend were there, and Roger Ryer and several other connections, they made all kinds of money at my expense. They built businesses, etc. at my expense. Never seen a fucking dime of it. Fox Television was all credited with my money.
How do they wear people's faces?
Huh? People eat people and they wear their skins.
They wear their skins? Does it start to smell bad after a while, or do they got a special process for that?
Well, you can make jokes about it all you want. It's facts.
Well, no, I'm not making jokes. I'm asking questions. I'm curious.
I don't know the details. I'm just telling you what's going on. I've been to every state in the union but Hawaii. It's the same shit everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Ever since George Senior Bush and Dan Quayle, our country sinks lower and lower in the mire with the quality of people that they put in office. Somebody flashed a Dan Quayle face on this trip again. I said, well, you could look at his body and see that's not Dan Quayle anymore. That wasn't including why I was over in California, some kid showing up with Dan Quayle's face. They killed Dan Quayle's female version of the movies also, Melissa Redgrave.
Melissa Redgrave was the female version of Dan Quayle?
She's been in the movies for years now. She's dead. But the rest, on the service signs, the restaurant that goes along with Petro is called Iron Skillet.
Yeah.
So the real Dan Quayle and his family, when he was no longer vice president, supposedly moved to Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
But we got one of your little midgets that likes to eat people. They even showed that in one of the movies. They had some kind of Dan Quayle face in a movie. I don't know what the title of the movie was.
Yeah.
All right. But they showed Dan Quayle's face and their head lying in a plate of pancakes with syrup. I said, well, gee, I know where that comes from.
Where'd that come from?
Well, see, the real Charlotte Schaefer was a girl, but they got 40,000 senior citizens, including John Guy #2, that participates in telling people I'm a buttfuck. Well, I'm not. And we know that Dan Quayle ended up with one of those Charlotte Schaefer characters, complete with kids. The problem is like I said, we have a system that picks on certain groups, but then they let other people do whatever the fuck they want.
Which groups does it pick on?
I'm obviously one of the ones that they don't want to do anything, because it seems like all I accomplish doing is hitchhiking back and forth across country.
Yeah.
I ain't sending anybody that's actually helping. As far as trying to get work, or trying to get a lawyer, or coming up with my share of the inheritance, etc., etc., etc. This part of the country is pretty cold in the wintertime, but it's nice to visit in the summertime.
It is.
But when it comes to the Midwest, Minnesota and Wisconsin do the best out of the Midwest portion of the country, at least traditionally speaking.
I think that's because the cannibals can't survive in the cold. They freeze.
What?
It gets too cold. The cannibals have to go south.
Oh, no. We got cannibals everywhere.
Don't they get too cold up here in the winter?
Well, I go south because I have no choice.
Well, then they follow you south.
I'm not the cannibal. I'm wearing the same skin I was born with. Modern day times, that's an accomplishment because you got all kinds of people. They change colors, change sexes, sizes, shapes, wear other people's skins, other people's faces. Can't even get politicians to wear their own skins nowadays. That's pretty bad when even cops are wearing other people's partial faces. Then when you tell them how you do those faces, we're not telling you nothing. I'm getting tired of, oh, well, my black son ate your family. You understand. He's a worthless nigger, so you get to live in the street because you're white. So, I'm sick of it. I'm going to find a lawyer. I know they go on both sides of the border with my money. Mexico and Canada. It's funny, anytime I get near the border, they bring people from both sides into this country for me to review. I don't want to go to Mexico. I've only been there once. Well, I want to go to Europe or Scandinavia where they don't change colors. Minnesota, they got a lot of Scandinavian, Germanic peoples. They even got some of them here.
Well, that's where we live, is Minnesota, so we know that.
I'm getting tired of being told, well, it doesn't matter if you're related to them because such and such nigger is the not. I says, okay, well, how does that work? Because that's not legal in this country.
12 miles. 12 miles to the Petro.
Where you saw the billboard?
Yep. Truck wash and everything.
Yes. I walked to that little truck stop this morning again. They had another one of those so-called relatives of Aunt Carol again. And I says, well, I don't know why that I have no clue who he is because he doesn't belong in my big family lineup. But yet he's another piece of shit that follows me everywhere I go. I left the piece of shit over in California. Now he's over here. So they can't tell me that they're not following me back and forth across the country. So I want to know why the system protects him. Why fucking bitch? Because he walked past me again today in his female form. Yesterday it was fake dumpy replacements for Aunt Carol again.
That sounds scary, man. Does it freak you out to be watched like that?
Well, what I'm saying is, that's how I met the Linda Thompson character in the first place, is because Aunt Carol was with her in La Crosse, Wisconsin, 1982. It's the only reason I met her. But you wouldn't believe the list of men that lied about that, and that was only a 1 month event. How many people of my people died since Bill Clinton took office? Bill Clinton and Al Gore were wrapped around everything I did. Bill Clinton ended up with my Kennedy and Rockefeller titles. Bill Clinton's team was over there fucking me out of my money in California again, this trip. So, I intend to prove exactly who runs our country. Can't knock off my relatives and then say, oh, well, you're a piece of shit because we have a government position. Bullshit. Get out our potato peeler and pull that dead skin off and show you what's underneath it. A fucking worthless monkey.
What do you think of Obama?
I defend the guy because I get tired of hearing people saying it's all his fault because of what's going on. But I don't like black people, so I didn't vote for him. I wouldn't have voted for him. but at least he's presenting some of the ideas I espouse. Problem is they don't realize our country works by the private sector. The government's only supposed to regulate the private sector. So the sludge in the mud, America, is because they've ate the people that had money and know how to run the show.
So they ate them and wore their skins to take their place?
I'm saying you got scumbags. I mean, come on. We had another Rockefeller face showing up on this trip. Somewhere in the Rockefeller family there was supposed to be one of those that was one of my mothers. I says, oh, okay, well, we got to the one church in Redding, California, had some woman wearing a Rockefeller face, but I didn't see them walk over and introduce themselves. We know it was during the Bill Clinton years the Rockefeller empire crumbled. We had the same thing with the Kennedy family back in the 60s. I was supposed to have a Kennedy father. Nobody knows who that was either. Now they'll tie me to the one that turns into a human dog or turns into a black person when it serves their purpose. I said, do you think the originals have been dead for a while? I mean, I was there in Massachusetts when Senator Edward Kennedy died, and I didn't see any of that money either. Somebody did a replacement for John Kerry again. I said, well, they already murdered John Kerry. Because the same time they made him State Department head is the same time they sold his wife's connection to Heinz Ketchup Company.
Yeah.
Yet, I talked to John Kerry when he was running for president, Grand Forks, North Dakota. So, I don't have documents to prove what I'm saying, but these people actually have insinuated, yes, you were somehow related.
Well, I don't need documents. You're sounding pretty convincing to me.
What I'm saying is, if John Kerry was an Massachusetts senator, and his wife is already dead, so they sold. So, who is this wearing John Kerry's face, pretending to be the State Department head? Because I think that's the same thing they were doing with Hillary when she was State Department head. Because when she quit, she had a brand new face. And they don't want to talk about how many voices she had the time that she was First Lady, up to the time she was a New York Senator, up to the time that she was a State Department head. Because I remember when she was pretending to be the First Lady, well, she used the term that she was the ghost of Eleanor Roosevelt. The ghost of Eleanor Roosevelt would be another Grandmother Ruby character. Hillary doesn't look like Grandmother Ruby. But in the Bill Clinton presidency, who was the one wearing the fake Grandmother Ruby face? Madeleine Albright, another State Department head creep, who was showing up right there in person in Nevada, solely because I was there. I got $5 so I wouldn't bother anybody in the Republican Party. Why I was in Reno, Nevada. From Madeleine Albright. That wasn't including the time she'd come and watch me work at day labor jobs. Now, they don't realize when it comes to Grandfather Earl and Grandmother Ruby how many variations there is throughout history and all the way around the world in every race and every culture. Every time one of them dies, somebody else sucks up the money.
Are you sure these people are human? Sounds like they're living a long time.
Well, I'm saying that you have people that use faces after the originals have been dead for years.
Sure.
So, spy work should only be performed by spies. So, they should be using those so-called laws they created to fight terrorism to stop such things. Identity theft is rampant in every form throughout this country. When does the state and federal government stop it? If the problem is illegal aliens, which I think it is one of the problems, how come when it comes to actual immigration reform that the federal government owes to fans the people that are here illegally? I Come on, I went to California this last trip and they loosened the laws because they know what I want to prove. I believe the reason our country stinks of debt and destruction at this point is because foreigners have taken it over. When I tried to talk to my Indiana senator in the state of Washington, D.C., right, they arrested me and put me in jail. When I went to the courtroom the next day, even the judge was Chinese. They said, well, as long as you don't bother any of our politicians, we'll let you go. Aren't we in debt to China? How did a communist nation transact all that money into their system? Well, we know China has been in the business of organized crime a lot longer than any other modern country. When the Soviet Union fell in 1991, which is the same year they put me in the street under their Persian Gulf War crap, the strongest Russian mafia became the Russian mafia. Yet, we created war after war after war with supposed Muslim influences. This is the cover-up for the Jewish connection during the George Senior Bush years. They fed all kinds of my money to New York City, the Jewish Defense League. Rebuilt the Statue of Liberty with my money. Now even the Jews that were involved in that are dead also. The one that made it obvious was, do you remember the story about the so-called Holocaust repayments?
No, I don't remember that story. Tell me about it.
Right. That's an iron skillet, so the next exit.
I see the exit. Tell me about the Holocaust repayments before the exit.
I was saying, they had several write-ups in the newspaper and magazines, and it turned out that it was not, the money had nothing to do with Nazis. It was not money stolen from the Holocaust survivors. Not a dime of it went to anybody that was a survivor of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Every dime of it went to the Jewish Defense League in New York City. Turned out what it was is an American businessman that they killed, and they tried to cover it up by saying it was stolen monies and assets that they'd taken from the Jews. I said, that's not true, because if it was true, then how come they were showing American faces in these old ancient pictures?
Well, maybe they were just wearing them.
Okay, so do you know where that other... Oh, okay. See, it says 39 right there.
Right. There's 39. Here's the Petro. Petro Travel Plaza right up there. Right here. RVs and autos.
I spent my last dollar on my tea.
I might have a little cash left. I don't know. Let me check. I don't have a lot. Yeah, I got a 5 for you, man.
That'll help.
That'll help. Yourself a beverage. I'm gonna take a leak.
Are you guys Chippewa?
No.